Hello, and welcome back to the channel. As most of you know, I'm Topher. And for those of you who don't know and just randomly decided to click on the video, welcome to the channel. I'm Topher. Thank you for stopping by. So we're here to do a reaction, and we are reacting to episode 8 of Quaranthings. It is the last episode of the series, or maybe it's a season. I'm not entirely sure if there's plans for a season 2 or anything like that. But either way, we're getting into episode 8, Quarantine Pass Part 2. At the end of episode 7, Judah was trying to leave. Rocky was basically begging him to stay and saying, I want to be with you, and Judah wasn't having any of it. And then Rocky ripped up the quarantine pass, essentially holding Judah hostage. So, while I don't necessarily agree with Rocky's methods, who knows? We'll see if it works out in his favor. I'm rooting for them, and we just gotta wait and see. But we're gonna dive on in.
Why does everybody fight for me when it's too late? Kailangan ba? Pain muna talaga bago love.
Judah.
See, and that's the part where you can really see Rocky is trying. He is trying so desperately, but he just can't get through to Judah.
Alis ka? Sige. Alis ka. Kala mo ikaw lang matalino, no?
Shut up.
Kung pupunta ka doon, coco water lang ipapalaklak sa'yo nun. Hindi ka tatamaan.
Tatamaan ka saan pag di ka tumigil.
Sungit naman ito. Hindi bagay sa'yo. Ako ang bagay sa'yo.
Okay, we had a quick emotional turnaround from the end of the last episode. Show gives me emotional whiplash.
Put it right there.
Kumayag ba ako? Truth.
Bakit ganito ka komplikado? Bakit ganito ka komplikado pag nagmamahal tulad natin?
Well, kasi before this moment ng buhay natin, tinatago natin yung totoong puso natin. So basically, ngayon pa lang natin siya fully napapaandar. Kaya, mga mapapa.
Alam mo ba? Bago mamatay si mama, nagkatampuhan kami. Pinipilit niya kasi akong umamin. Ramdam daw kasi niya na hindi ako straight. Nabasa kasi niya yung mga emo messages ko sa phone. Nung may kapag-break ako kay Chet.
Ano nabasa niya?
Na gusto ko nang mawala. Hindi ko gustong pakamatay, pero hindi na ako kapalag kung kukunin ako ni Lloyd.
Passive suicidal thoughts. Ba't mo naman naramdaman yun?
Perfect naman si Che. Kaso, di ko lang kasi maisip na makakasama ko siya eh. O ibang babae. Ayun. Nabasa niya yun. Kinausap niya ako.
Ano sinabi mo?
Siyempre, dininay ko. Nagalit ako. Hindi ko tanggap na may nakalam na ng sikreto ko eh. Para bang naubaran ako sa hiya.
Anong sabi ng mama mo?
Saktan siya. Gusto lang naman daw niya kasing iparamdam na tanggap niya ako eh. Na kung ano ako.
Wow,
That's what good mamas do.
swerte mo.
Anong maswerte? Hindi ko nga tanggap sarili ko eh. Namatay lang si mama nung may tampuhan kami.
Don't you think that you should come out now to honor your mom?
Bakit pa? Para saan pa? Wala na yung unang tao na tumanggap sa akin. Hindi ko deserve sumaya. Hindi ko deserve gumaya.
Let's not go that far. You still have your
Ubusin ko na lang
dad,
yung buhay ko, nagtatrabaho para sa pamilya ko.
and you still have your family who love and accept you. Don't forget your conversation with your dad from last episode. Baby.
Hindi ko gusto ang alak ko.
It's like this game's not done yet.
Truth. Or dare.
There. Make it
Diyan
interesting.
na lang.
I knew it.
Mag-post ka sa wall ko.
Ha? Bakit?
O diba? Hindi mo magawa.
Anong ilalagay ko dyan?
Bahala ka. Kung gaano ka kahalaga sa'yo.
Bakit ba gusto mo nakikita ng mundo na may nagmamahal sa'yo? Kailangan ba talaga yun?
Siyempre. Oh. Ewan. Ba't mahirap na hirap ka pa?
Ngayon ba talaga ako mag-out? May pandemic. Kailangan pa ba gawing issue yan? Di ba pwedeng gets na nila na ganito ako? Ang dami-dami na nangyayari sa mundo. Sasabay pa ako.
Oo. Sa mundo. Marami. Pero sa atin, dito sa bahay, Wala. Ito lang. And this is our only time to look at ourselves. Ano ba talaga tayo? Ano bang klase ng life ang gusto natin? Gusto ba natin yung tinatago?
I get both sides
Don't you
of.
wanna do it for your mama?
I get both sides of the argument. I think you need to stop bringing mom into the picture or mom into the conversation, and using that as your driving force to try and force him out of the closet. But I get both sides. Like, it's very much Vlad and Carl-esque, Guys Up Pellicula, where one person wants to live out and proud with their love, and the other person is just not ready to be out and proud in the world yet.
Truth na lang.
Paano mo nasabing ready ka na mag-out sa loli mo? Sa mami mo? Sa pamilya mo?
Ramdaman ko lang. Isang araw, na-feel ko lang na hindi ko na kayang itago yung important part ng self ko.
Swerte mo. Mas madaling magpakatotoo kapag nagkaroon problema ang pera.
Grabe ka naman. Ano nangyari yun?
Ang mahirap, tulad namin, maraming limitasyon. Maraming komplikasyon sa sarili. Kaya, hindi na namin naasikaso pa yun. Trabaho, tulog, dasal, trabaho ulit, ulit-ulit. Ganun lang.
May mga problema rin naman kami.
Oo naman. Pero mas marami kayong solusyon. Mas marami kayong pwedeng gawin.
Hindi ka pa nga ready.
Pero gusto kita.
Hindi naman pwede yung gusto lang.
Y'all have heard me say this so many times. I wish it were. I wish that just
Mahal ako.
being in love was enough. Fortunately, we live in a world where it's just not.
Thanks for the memories though.
Papa Jesus, ano? Bakit ganito? Ngayon lang ako nakakilala ng ganito ka-espesyal. Ng taong nakikita yung totoong ako. Tapos di ko man lang mailaban. Ba't mo pa ako ginawang duwag? Truth or dare?
Like if you come in here with this bottle one
Seryoso
more
nga.
damn time.
Truth or dare?
Bahala ka na. Kahit ano, parehas lang naman yun.
Okay. Dare. Bawal ka magsalita. Bawal ka gumalaw.
Okay, we're repeating
mangyari?
this. I had a feeling this was going to come back when I saw them play Truth or Dare again.
Ikaw, pinakamasayang-saya. Pag handa ka na, hanapin mo ko, ha? Huwag na. Ayoko makipag-sex. Sex ends. Gusto ko lang umiyak. Magkakapalaran tayo.
I mean, he can still give you a quick little pack. That's not sex. But okay, I get it. I get it. It's sweet.
Kumain ka muna bago umalis. Sumutuyo.
Thank you for staying with me. Yan ang nakagawa niya sa buhay ko. You know what? Dahating na yung driver ni Lodi para sunduin ako.
Akala ko ba Glenn ka pupunta? Hindi. Hindi mo pa siya pinipili. Wala ka pang pinipili. Pwede pa akong lumaban.
Lucky naman pwede lumaban.
I mean, I've been saying since the last episode, Glenn was just a rebound guy. He didn't have any actual feelings for Glenn.
Dali lang.
Ano ginagawa mo?
Basta. Akong bahala. Magtiwala ka lang.
Are you gonna introduce him to Papa?
Uy, Rocky! Ang aga-aga pa. Oh, may kasama ka pala.
Pa, di ba, nasabi ko sa'yo may taong mahalaga sa akin? Siya yun pa. Si Judah. Bakla ako pa.
Oh, God.
Matutuwa ang mama mo. Salamat, Judah, ha, sa pagsama sa anak ko.
Salamat po.
pa.
Juda, kanina pa nandiyan si Mang Andoy. Lumabas ka na.
Opo, palabas na po.
It's baby steps. He may not be ready to tell the whole world just yet, but baby steps.
Mag-iingat ka ha. Pag inaway ka ulit ni Loli mo, sabihan mo lang ako ha. I-rescue kita.
Pagod ako sa'yo. Sobra.
Pag natapos lahat, babalik ka ha. Mag-inom ulit tayo sa balcony. Manonood tayo ng mga horror movies na ikaw lang naman natatakot. Kakain tayo ng special na sardinas. Kasi luto ng special na tao. Gagawin natin lahat ng yun ha.
Hug him. Thank you. And the grip around the back of the neck. Praise Jesus.
Wait lang. Ready ka lang. Huwag kang gagalaw ha. Ayokong makita yung reaction mo pag narinig mo to eh.
Stop, y'all can't keep replaying these moments for me.
Judah. Hihintayin kita. Please. Hayaan mo ko.
Maghanda na tayo ulit sumubo.
The driver just probably sitting there in the driver's seat like, will you hurry up and get your ass in this car?
Magnanakaw! Sorry.
Dito na muna ako sa kama ng ka-roommate mo matutulog ah. Total, may aircon.
Roommate lang? Walang ka? Magaling ka ba talaga magmasahe?
Yan. Parang relax ka. Yan.
Basta ha, bawal ka gumalaw. Kahit anong mangyari, bawal magsalita. Good morning, pangit!
Ano naman to?
Basta, whole day, hayaan mo kung i-date ka. Buong araw, ipapaintindi ko sa'yo kung bakit ako ang best choice mo.
Yes, choice.
He did say that he loved you.
Gusto naman kita eh. Dati pa. Judah. Please. Huwag mo akong iiwan.
6 inches. Gusto ko lang magtaka. Magkakapa na lang tayo. Rocky! Rocky! Sumama ka na lang kaya sa amin!
I mean, that works too.
Sigurado ka? Pwede ba?
Sigurado ka na rin ba? Sa akin.
Ay lang, ay lang. Ay lang.
Hala, sige, bagalan nyo pa. Sigurado kayo matatraffic. Uwi na kayo mga apo.
Aww. Come on, Lolly. You better be an ally.
At saka magpunta.
Wala ka na kinakatakot.
Wala.
Tara na.
That was a very sweet ending. I've been advised to watch through the end of the credits, so I'm just gonna enjoy the song a little bit.
Napaka-anticlimactic naman. Tagal ni Kuya Antoy. Sabi niya, iilang siya.
Maybe just giving you a little alone time. You better crawl that pinky over there.
Oh, ano yan?
I like you.
Yeah, you do. He even loves you a little bit too.
I love you too.
Mm-hmm.
Like lang yung sinabi ko.
I love you rinig ko eh.
I love how much they're like calling back to all these moments they had earlier in the season.
Sige na nga. I love you too.
Stop it. You better grab his face with both hands, baby. You better give me this sweet little forehead kiss. Oh, you better work your way down his face. But this is a family show, so stop with the lips. Girl, what were you expecting him to do? You gonna kiss him back? Kissing's a two-way street. It's much better when both of you are active participants. Go back in. Yes, there we go. I'm happy with this. I don't remember if Gina Loli, if she follows me on Instagram or she just likes the clips that I post. I want to say she follows me. I want to say she followed me back. But either way, anytime I post one of these little previews to Instagram, she always likes it. So I'm a big fan of Gina. I like this song. This is one of the cast members singing too. Like all the other Filipino BL series I watch. Everybody in the cast is so amazingly talented. Okay, gorgeous. I see you. Y'all better give me these fierce headshots. Yes, come on, Ken. Okay, I am very, very happy with this ending. About halfway through the episode, I felt like it was going to go the same route that Guys Up Pellicula went, where they at least got resolution. Like, yeah, they had their breakup or whatever, their conflict, but they at least got resolution even though they weren't going to be together right now. They still were leaving things in a place where they were okay with each other. There's hope for the future, and they just both understand where the other person's coming from. Judah understood that Rocky just needs time. Rocky's not quite ready yet to live out and proud in the world. And Rocky understands that Judah doesn't want to keep his love secret. Judah wants to live his love out and proud. And they just said, you know, whenever you're ready, Judah said, when you're ready, promise that you'll come find me. And like, I was totally prepared for us to just leave it there. They're not going to be together, but they had that beautiful time together throughout quarantine. They had their beautiful moments, and the relationship just wasn't right now. But there'll be a time and a place and a season and reason for them, and, you know, in the future they'll get together. Cool. I was perfectly happy with that ending. I was content with that ending, and it felt, again, just like Guys Up Pellicula, very real, very grounded in reality, and just a very mature way to approach the situation. So I was like, okay, I'm fine with this. But then, you know, they flipped the script and gave me the 180, and they're like, haha, just kidding, we're going to give you that happy ending that we know you want. And I'm like, okay, I'll take this too. Yay. So I got the best of both worlds. I got my realistic, okay, the timing's not right for us right now, but maybe someday it will be. And then I got my fairy tale, hey, Rocky, you just want to come live with me and my grandma? Like, just come on, baby, you know, whatever. And, you know, it was good. But I'm glad that they got that night there to, you know, play truth or dare and just get that resolution that they needed in the situation. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, the emotional shift in the air from the end of last episode to the beginning of this episode was so dramatic, and that's not the first time that I've seen it happen. I feel like it happened the first time they were playing Truth or Dare. Like, the end of the episode, Judah was like, let me court you, whatever, and, you know, it just ended there with this, just all this emotional tension. And then the beginning of the following episode, we immediately bust out into this almost sort of comedic response and whatnot. So it's just like this emotional whiplash. We're ending in one place and then we're starting somewhere completely light and fluffy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening here? So this was another instance where that happened. The beginning of this episode just felt so drastically different in tone from the end of the last episode. But like I said, I'm glad that they had that opportunity. I wasn't agreeing with Rocky's approach in keeping Judah there by ripping up the quarantine pass, but I'm glad that they had that opportunity to spend that extra night together to get that sort of clarity and just to put things into better perspective for them. A lot of truths came out. We found that Rocky, I guess, has always been of the homosexual persuasion. It's not just Judah. As I was questioning, earlier throughout the season, I'd mentioned that I wasn't sure if Rocky always, or, knew he'd been gay for a while, or if he's even gay, if it's just this one person who happens to be a man that has his affection, or if it's just he's attracted to men in general. And like I remember seeing like the text from his mom that he was reading and kind of getting those vibes like she knew things about him. So this just answered those questions. Yes, she always suspected that, he had, homosexual tendencies in his heart, and he was not ready to own up to it, wasn't ready to live that truth yet. So deny till you die. I get it. We've all been there. And yeah, so we got that bit of backstory, that bit of understanding, and yeah, they just had a very good night where they could just put things into perspective and just talk honestly and openly, which I feel a lot of the issues that happen throughout the season, a lot of the issues in general with all these series, a lot of the issues in life in general, are stemming from just poor communication. So the fact that they got to have this night and just have that sort of open channel of communication and really get to the heart of things was key. And even when, like I said, I liked how, especially throughout the Truth or Dare, like the last half of the episode, well, no, actually most of the episode, I'll say, I like how they kept having these sort of callbacks to moments that they had earlier in the season, whether it was, the Truth or Dare, you can't move, you can't say anything, and then he's just going to come and hug you, or the I like you, I love you too response, or, a couple other little things of that just like popped up. I'm like, hey, it was nice callbacks to the groundwork that we laid in the earlier episodes, and just to kind of remind us of why we're shipping these two together, those moments that we had that made us fall in love with these two people as a couple. And yeah, so I liked the moment when, after they left the balcony and they went back to their separate rooms, and Rocky was praying to Papa Jesus. I'm like, hey, how come you just made me such a coward? How come I can't fight for him? He's the first person who's ever seen me, the real me, and he's so special. And, he was just having this text conversation back and forth with Judah, just like, why? Why did you like me? And Judah's like, I really wanted to love you in a way that you haven't been, but you absolutely deserve to. And you can see that Rocky wants that love. He wants that affection. And there's so many moments, especially in the last 2 episodes, when he kept confessing his feelings to Judah. You can just see this sensitivity in his eyes where he really, really wants that love and affection that Judah keeps talking about. And he wasn't ready to admit it earlier in the season, but he really does want it. He really finds that comfort in Judah. And I was happy that he went back into the room with the bottles, like, hey, you want Truth or Dare? And then, we had that whole replay moment of the hug and all that stuff. And then even when he, kind of crawled on top of Judah to go in and give him a kiss, Judah's like, no sex. You back up. None of that. I'd rather you just hold me. I'd rather we just be close and just be in each other's arms. And there was just something about, there were a lot of moments throughout, especially the last 2 episodes, when it comes to Kyo, Judah, his acting, where he would say his lines at almost like a whisper's breath. Like there was a lot of like this sort of intimate whispering that he would do with his lines, especially in that moment when he's like, no, the sex ends here. I'd rather you would just hold me and we just, be in each other's arms, whatever. Like, just the way he would whisper, the way he would say these lines, like it just made the moment feel so intimate, so real, and just so, I don't want to say romantic, but I'm romanticizing the whole thing, so I'm gonna say romantic, but it just felt so intimate and just like, and then pair that with just the sensitivity in Royce's eyes. Royce's acting was fantastic throughout these last couple episodes, especially. Kyo's too. Lots and lots of great acting all the way around. Except from, I'm not gonna say her acting wasn't great, but Judah's mom, she only popped in a couple instances throughout the series, but every time she popped up, her segment popped up, like the little phone calls, I don't know, I never really bought anything she was saying, and I felt like that's probably because, like, obviously she's not recording with other people in the room. All those video calls are recorded by themselves and they just send it and they're editing it in for the sake of whatever, so it looks like they're having video chats, conversations. But like, I feel like her video calls found it the hardest to make it feel like a real call. Like with Loli, whenever we were looking at her video calls, like, yeah, you can, if you watch close enough, you can kind of see where she's holding or pausing for the sake of, so that they can edit it to make it look like she's waiting or listening to the other person talking, whatever and whatnot. But when she was speaking and when she's reacting, like, it felt very real, very conversational. When Dad was on the phone, when little sister was on the phone, same thing, like it felt real and conversational. But when like Mama was on the phone, her video chats, they just felt like, to me anyway, like she was chatting to a screen, like she was saying her lines to a screen versus it being a dialogue that she was pretending to have with someone else on the other side. So I didn't buy a lot of her little scenelets that she had there. But outside of that, just the acting in general from everyone else in the cast was fantastic. But Royce and Kyo in these last 2 episodes really just dove into these emotions, dove into these characters, and just dissected them and just gave you these honest, raw kind of performances, and I loved it. But yeah, I loved that moment with them on the bed where they were just cuddling. It was just very sweet, and that warmed my heart, and that just made me feel happy with where I thought we were leaving things. That made me feel like I got my sense of closure for this couple, and I was like, okay, they're not going to be together, but that's okay, and I'm fine with it. They're not going to be together right now. Rocky needs his time to live his life. Judah needs his time to heal and do whatever, and then later down the road, they potentially can be together, cool, whatever. But then, Rocky got up the courage, and he called up his dad. He was like, hey, this is my someone special. Also, I'm a homosexual, so there's that. And his dad's like, your mama would be very, very proud, and, thank you for staying with my son, Judah, and, this response that I knew was going to happen, because from the last phone call that he had with his dad in the last episode, his dad seemed very, very open, very accepting, and just wanted him to be happy, so I didn't expect him to have any other kind of response. But yeah, in the end, we got our happy ending, and it's sweet. The series was fun. It was a nice journey. The characters definitely developed. They definitely grew. Because especially from the first episode, y'all know I was not here for Judah. I was here for Rocky, but mainly because he was hot and shirtless most of the episode, and I do appreciate the wardrobe choices for Rocky. The fact that he was almost exclusively in boxer shorts, giving me legs all damn day. Like, great. Fantastic choice. Fantastic costuming. But yes, I wasn't here for Judah in the beginning, and I was here for Rocky for aesthetic reasons. But as the series went on, I quickly came on Rocky's side because I felt they were really giving me these complex layers to make Rocky this really developed character. And then the further we got in, Judah got more and more layers, and they fleshed out the characters very, very nicely. And in the end, we got this complete journey. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I'm glad that it happened, because at first when I started watching it, I was a little worried in my head because, like I mentioned, one of my patrons, one of my followers, my friends, Sir Pancakes, he recommended this series to me, and I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this, because I wasn't here for Judah. I couldn't stand Judah, and I the first episode just didn't grab me in a way that I was like, ooh, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this series. I feel kind of bad because my baby Sir Pancakes wanted me to watch this series. He was really excited about this, but I'm glad that I stuck it through, because about 2-3 episodes in, that's when I really started to feel those shifts in those characters developing. I'm like, okay, and now we reach this point here at the end where it was very, very nicely handled, very nicely wrapped up, and I like it. So thank you, Sir Pancakes, for the suggestion. Thank you all for joining me on this yet another journey through another BL series. I hope you guys enjoyed this journey. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on notifications to be notified when all my shenanigans get posted. If there's anything else you'd like to see me react to, be sure to leave it down in the comments. I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, you're more than welcome to join us over on Patreon, like Sir Pancakes. You don't have to, but you're more than welcome to if you want to. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Love ya. Mwah. Before you guys go, a shout out to my amazing patrons. I can't begin to express how thankful I am for your support. And if you guys would like to join us over on Patreon, the link is down in the description. I love you guys.